Okay, testing the mic. 1 2 1 2. Let me know if you can hear me. Anybody out there? Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2. Can you hear the mic? Thanks, David. Okay, everyone, welcome to the Pro Trade Room Plus, and we are here for unemployment claims in Philly Fed. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10 Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures. I'm not a financial advisor, so please trade carefully. Don't do well with hats. I don't look good in hats. But I just wanted to let everyone know we still have our 10-minute trade hats. So on some people, they look really good. I'm not a hat person. So we are streaming today and working out some kinks still. It's interesting when I stream the trade room, I can put my webcam over here and you can still see it. But when I stream on OBS, my extended monitor section does not work, so I have to figure that out. Anyway, I got hopefully the final version of the software this morning. And, one of the big features in the new software is going to be the magnet trade. So I'm watching the markets. I got here about 7 o'clock. And I just, I start going through email and just doing what you normally do when you start your day. And I noticed gold was getting ready to test the high. That's what the magnet trade is designed to do. If you see a situation that you think is going to create a magnet, I can put a magnet on the chart. The true magnet is the high of the day, but I want to front run it. Okay, so I'm creating an order X number of ticks before the high of the day, and I'm putting the software in auto mode. Okay, and then I just started doing my email. I wasn't even paying attention. And a few minutes later, first I tested it to make sure it would work. Then I put the magnet back where it should be. And I started just going back through my email. If gold changes direction, then you can cancel the trade. No big deal. It doesn't hit the magnet. And that's what it did, but I wasn't watching. So I was just doing my email. And all of a sudden, I heard a noise. I hope it's in this video. Yeah. It was right about 7:30. It triggered my order. And then the idea of a magnet is it's going to go to the high of the day. So that's where one order can be placed, close to the high of the day. And that's exactly what the price did. It went to that area and it took me out of the trade. That's the idea of what the magnet trade is going to do. And the really great thing about it is you can design any level to be a magnet. So you could be heading towards the VWAP. You could be heading towards the high of the day. You could be heading towards the R1. Anyway, we will talk about it as soon as I'm sure the software is working well enough to put in everyone's hands. Let's talk about today. So today we have a tremendous inconsistency. We have tried for years and years and years to trade Thursday's jobless claims. Today, it trades with Philly Fed. So Thursday claims and Philly Fed trade together fairly often, okay? So we have testing, and when Chantal and I were done with our testing, it comes out to a 50-50. It's a coin toss. to trade Philly Fed with unemployment claims. It's a coin toss. Last month, on this date, it happened to be, here's the situation. The news comes out, fills the NQ, fills gold, and does a really lousy turnaround. Okay, so last month did not work, even slightly. Then you look at February, you can't use because it was traded with retail sales. So that's a contaminated report. In January, we had building permits thrown into the mix. So there is contamination there also. There is contamination there also. Let's get to the right spot on the video. And that was a crazy whip on gold, it looked like. Crazy whip on gold. NQ had a very fast change in direction also. Not a very confidence building kind of move. Okay, that's the truth. Not confidence building. Then we go back to November, Philly Fed and Thursday claims. And this was just a straight ahead. Nope, you know what? We had building permits. Let me make sure. Let me go to November. November, we just had Philly Fed, just like today, Philly Fed and unemployment claims. No extra reports in November. And that day I was testing and I traded 37 NQ contracts by accident. 37 contracts. That was a good move in November. That was the last really good move. That was the last really good move on Philly Fed and unemployment claims. And that's the truth. The last really good move. If we go back to September, September, we were trying bonds on Thursday jobless claims. We have tried everything. That's the truth. We have tried everything. It had a pretty good NQ move, but it was very fast also in September. Well, David, it has a track record. It's just that the track record is it's a 50-50. That's its track record. It is a 50-50. Let me see if I can get my webcam back. There it is. Okay. So that's the issue with Philly Fed. Maybe we could put it over there. That's the issue with Philly Fed. and Thursday jobless claims. There's a significant amount of news. Philly Fed should be pretty negative because with all of the rate increases that the Fed has done, that has definitely slowed down manufacturing in the various Fed regions. Okay. It has absolutely slowed down manufacturing. We are seeing the Fed reports with not super active manufacturing. So you have to decide, do you want to trade the 50/50s? Yes, you can get a result like we had yesterday, right? Yesterday we had a report that we didn't expect to be all that powerful. Was it yesterday or Tuesday? It was Tuesday. We had building permits and housing starts, if I remember correctly, that worked really well. And that was a big surprise. That was a big surprise because there hadn't been one that moved incredibly well in a year. So Philly Fed, you got to go back to November for a very strong move in the instruments for this report. I keep saying Philly Fed, but the jobless part of the report is probably just as important, if not more important. Okay. The jobless numbers are extremely influential in this event. So, we have our Top Step account. I don't like throwing money away in any kind of trading account. That's not what I'm interested in doing. I definitely think there is a possibility that there could be a move on this event. Okay. So you could trade micros on this event if you want to just trade for the sake of trading, or you could also look for a second move, right? You could look for a second move right after the news. It's possible that there could be something that happens right after the news. So I think that what I'm going to do is set up a gold. I'll set up gold in my Top Step account. Hey, Brian, are you still here? Are you here, Brian from Ireland? Brian. So gold on our Top Step account. And I would set up our reversal continuation. Okay. Reversal for everyone out there. One position, full size gold. And you can also use multi positions with micros if you want to trade multiple contracts at low risk after the news to practice, get yourself used to trading after the news. And we'll do a target of 20 ticks with a stop of 20 ticks. And then I'll label it REV, just so we know which setup is which. And I'll put that on my Top Step account. So there are some interesting levels this morning. The VWAP is always interesting. We'll see what the news result is, and we'll see if we get any kind of interesting market move from it. And then I would just set up the DMM on the NQ, but I don't want to trade. I don't want to throw away money in our cash account. Our cash account has gotten over 23,000. It's 23,400. Last week it was in the 22s. Okay. We have Netflix today. Netflix today is a guaranteed live trade. Okay. No matter what, Netflix is a live trade. It's often a very good trade. Now we'll talk about Netflix later. Okay. Today's trades before Netflix are all not winning setups. All right. But there are still opportunities. So we'll go for the opportunities, but maybe the exact moment of the news might not be the perfect opportunity for some of the events today. Certainly on Philly Fed and unemployment, I showed you the videos. There's only been one really good move since November. Okay. And go back to September. Got to go back to September. So it is a coin toss. And our testing, Chantal is testing with me this week, clearly said if you want to trade this, it's a 50-50. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So the breakout on the NQ is 8. $29.59. It's a bracket of 25. Actually, it's a bracket of 30. It's a bracket of 30. Okay. Increase the bracket to 30, especially if you're trading live. Targets, we've got 12 and 25, and we've got a stop of 35. And I would do a target 1 stop move, break even -2. Okay. Then I would label the trade NQ. I'll save our template. Today's date. And actually, it should say unemployment first. Just the way that I sort my trade names. And then we do what we always do. We go to the width. The time is 0. Apply it and okay it on Sim. Yeah, Cal, the risk numbers is a part of our DMM that in all honesty, we have to redo and make it more meaningful. It's not enough of a range to have much meaning. I've talked to my boss about redoing the risk. The average trade is a risk of 3. If you ever see a 4, it means high volatility. Occasionally we have a 2, and a 2 would definitely be a family money trade that we would take that trade no matter what. But I want to go to a risk range of 1 to 10, but it requires a lot of work. We just haven't done it yet. But it's one part of the DMM that really we're thinking about updating. It's been that way for a long time, but it doesn't really tell us as much as I would like it to. But if you see a 4, it means high volatility. If you see a 2, I would take the trade. Okay. So once again, on the right side, before we go over it, let's check our time sync. Time.is checks your computer to see if you're in sync. And then if there's an opportunity for a trade after the news, then I might take it in my Top Step account. Right now, you've got the gold open. Gold's been testing the high all morning. It's pretty incredible. Up to 2,400. I will not cry in a corner if the NQ works today, because we know for a fact that occasionally this report's going to work 50-50. Okay? It's going to work 50-50. You don't let it bother you if that's an event you decided not to risk real money on, because that's how you build your account. You build your account by staying with the best of the best reports. Sometimes that means trading live money 3 times a week. You might have a slow week. Now, I would say it's pretty rare to have a week quite that slow, but we had an interesting that we talked about the other day, an interesting thing that happened. In one of the earnings trades, people made $100 or a little bit more. Almost everybody said they would be happy to make $100 a day every day in the market. If they had a system that made them $100 a day, they would be very happy. Because everybody knows it's hard to make money every single day in the market. Everybody makes believe that you can use their robot and have a 99% success rate. If you all get the same advertisements for the robots that I get on my social media feeds, it's unbelievable the way they just lie and lie and lie about 85, 95% success rate on their robots, TradeR system. It's just beyond belief. It's beyond belief. I get inundated with fake AI trading schemes every day. Show me the robot that you don't have to work at, right? Show me a robot you don't have to work at. I have not seen one yet. All right, we are watching. So the NQ has a magnet trade here. It's coming right before the news, so it certainly would make it a lot riskier. But that low of the day, that's a magnet, right? You could be a magnet trade trader, and that would be a setup that you might be interested in. The news might be screwing up that particular event. You might not take it, okay? But that's what I love about that magnet trade. There are setups all the time. You could say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to watch the markets for 2 hours every day. In the morning, I think, is one of my favorite times to trade, maybe between 7 and 9:15. And you could have quite a few setups that you could trade. Yes, exactly. And those bots are still out there, David. They're still out there. I still see them. It's just that MetaTrader, they kind of shot themselves in the foot when they came out with MetaTrader 5 and it didn't support the robots and all of the features of MetaTrader 4. I think that hurt the platform, but I was reading that there are some issues going on right now in the Forex market, making some of the existing platforms having problems with brokers. I'm not quite sure what the situation is, but I think a lot of people are using TradingView. I've been talking to our programmer about TradingView, and there seem to be conflicting stories about how TradingView works with robots and automated trading. That's what we're trying to figure out right now. Markets are still pretty volatile. Yesterday at the Beige Book, markets were really volatile. I wish we would get a quiet close today for Netflix, but I don't think that we will. All right, so now we're just waiting. Two and a half minutes to go. Maybe there will be an opportunity. Maybe there will be an opportunity on our gold setup. Okay. The breakout, we're just testing because of the fact that it's a 50-50 trade. It's not a high probability winner. I'm guessing you did that in SimCal, last night's Australia trade. I want to talk to someone who traded that live. Also, I didn't do a good test of it yet. I looked at it. It was super fast to the downside. I'm not sure. Did you trade it live, Todd? Did you trade it live with our setup? Okay, and if the question I would have is where did it fill? Where did it fill? It looked like about a 22 tick move when I looked at it really quickly, so I'm not even positive. Okay. All right, so we've got 30 seconds. They're expecting the big number is 215,000 claims. 215,000 claims. The Fed wants higher numbers than that. Here come the brackets. Okay, so a little bit lower than expected. Little bit lower. You have a whipsaw move on gold. I'm not sure there's a trade here because you don't have a commitment yet to either direction from that news. Philly Fed, I'm surprised, very positive on Philly Fed. Very positive. And gold just did a whipsaw. Looks like it wants to go and test the VWAP, but it's not close enough for me at this point. I'm not sure that I see enough. There is a short here. I think gold is a short for the VWAP. That's what I'm thinking. But that news was not so meaningful. The Philly Fed could push gold up a little bit. It could, because it's such positive news. And the jobless claims, see, I think the jobless claims are negative news. And that could push gold in a different direction. I think we're going to get that VWAP test. So I'll take a shot in my prop account. I might lose. I might be totally wrong. It looks like totally wrong. Totally wrong. So I really thought we were going to get that move down. So I would never, here's the difference about the psychology in a prop account versus a cash account. I never would have taken that trade in my cash account. But I think my stop is just too small on some of these trades. But I would never take that in my cash account. I wouldn't risk real money on that. Right now, my prop account, it's almost where it was when I opened it. It's not the end of the world here. That trade got me. I'll have another trade later. And what's the worst that happens in a prop account? I haven't passed the eval yet. And I'll tell you something. I fully expect to pass the eval in this account. I fully expect to do it. I've had 2 bad discretionary trades this week, but I'm not going to jump back in and chase it. I was wrong. It wasn't going to go towards the VWAP. It doesn't know which way it wants to go. So I'll leave it alone and we'll think about it for the next time. And I'm not going to cry in a corner. Not going to try in a corner. Now, Larry, you got it early, so I was very slow in getting in. Very slow in getting in. So good for you that you got it. So let's look at the schedule. Let's look at the video, because that was not a good NQ move. That's the truth. That was not a good NQ move. If you noticed, it went up and down really fast, and it would not have hit both targets, okay? That's why it shows a tiny profit, but it really wasn't. That would have been very, very difficult to make money on that NQ breakout. And that's the reason I'm not live. I don't want to throw my cash away. We've worked really hard to build that cash account up and up and up. And I just want to show people, if you really are careful, if you're careful, you have the opportunity to build your cash account up if you trade smart. Okay, so here is the move. Brackets, and you have a whipsaw. It almost hit the second target, but it didn't, and it whipped, pulled back. Remember, the stop was moved to safety. If the stop wasn't moved to safety, then you would have had a losing trade 100%, because it would have dropped below your stop, okay? It would have dropped below the stop. And gold just had a very strange kind of move on this report. Just did not have a good, it looked like it wanted to go test the high, and then it never followed through. It also did a quick reversal. Just not a good event, okay? Not a good event. Todd, I think you had a lot of luck on that trade, because it did not look, I kind of agreed with Larry that I did not think last night's Australia was a very good move. And Todd, I think you got lucky. You got a good fill. And I did not have a trade room for multiple reasons. But the main reason is if I think a report is great, I'll do anything to have a trade room. I'll reschedule my life to have a trade room when there's a good report. If I don't trade a major report, it's usually because that report is not trading well and it's not a good profit opportunity. Australia, jobs right now is really not trading well. That's the honest truth. I think you got lucky. I think you got lucky. Larry, did you have a loss on it? Did you have a loss on it? Let me see if I recorded the video on it. No, I didn't. I think I just watched the move. So last night's Australia, if you disconnect and go to playback, I already downloaded the data. Okay? I downloaded the data. It was last night was the 17th. Okay? The date was the 17th. It was 9:15. 9:30 was the event. So I would go to 9:29:50 on my time, PM. Okay. And you need to be on Australia. 6A0624. And Ninja always resets my time to 0. I don't know why it does that. Ninja says it's OneDrive that's creating a conflict, and I've never been able to fix it. So here's what that Australia move looked like last night. 10 seconds before the news. This is 10 seconds before the news. See how fast that reversed? Larry says he got filled at 4485. That's not that, well, keep in mind, that doesn't look like that bad of a fill. The question is, were you able to get a profit out of that? Could you get a profit out of that? Remember, in sim and in playback, there's no slippage. There's no slippage. I'm just showing everyone the move. That is not the behavior of a great winning trade. It's just not. But I don't think it would have filled our trap trade. Our trap trade, tiers, which is the way that I would have traded it, would have been 30 ticks. It did not go 30 ticks. It did not go 30 ticks. I don't think, anyway. So look, you can always do a test, right? You can always do a test. We're already in playback. Let's load the trap trade, right? I would have traded it last night with the trap. I would have used the settings on the DMM. It was tiers of 30 and 40. I'm pretty sure, okay? I'm going by memory. And it's a 9:30 event with a 5-second of prep. Okay, 5 seconds of prep. So I would have done the trap, tiers of 30 and 40. I don't think it moved far enough, but let's see. So I'll go back to before the trade, 9:29:45. Okay. And now we can replay this trade. Now I'm going to record it also so that I have a record of how did the Australia trade move. So here's the recording. It didn't go far enough, which is what I thought. So for me last night, it wouldn't have been a fill, which is what I would have preferred. It was a trap trade, but it was much smaller tiers last night. But Chantal and I, we have tested this over and over and over. When it's a small move, it usually is not a big profit. So as a trap trade, it would not have filled. Okay. Also, I want to set it up exactly properly. The time should have been 21:29:55. 24-hour time. 21:29. 21:30. 21:30 for all of you. 21:30, 5-second prep. Remember, I'm using the new software. We do the time differently. It's not going to make any difference that my orders were put on the chart a little bit sooner because there was no movement of the Australian dollar before the trade. It was pretty quiet. It just didn't move nearly enough to fill the trap trade. Just not, look, I'm glad, Todd, that you made money. But I still stand by the fact that it's not a great event to trade. And sometimes you get a good fill and you get the opportunity to make money even when a trade isn't behaving. And that's how this goes. That's how it goes. And Todd, you traded it well. So good for you. We're always happy when our members make money. Happier than when you make money over us making money. Okay? I would prefer you all make money. All right. Anybody have any questions? Otherwise, we're coming back at 9:30 for existing homes and natural gas. Okay? So I'll see everybody back here for existing homes and natural gas. And, you can do a test of the breakout, right? You can do a test of the breakout. Move your time earlier again, 9:29:50. If you want to do a breakout on Australia, what was the bracket? I don't remember what the bracket was. It wouldn't have mattered. Cal, it was just too fast. It reversed too fast. There's nothing. When a trade moves that way, it's almost impossible to save it. That's the truth. It's almost impossible to save it. If it's a bad behavior event, it's almost impossible. You could try trailing and you can try everything in your imagination, and it just doesn't matter. Just to get an idea what it would look like on a breakout with a 6-tick bracket, I think our bracket was pretty small. Yeah, okay, 5 or 6 is fine. Just to give you an eye what it looks like. See, it looks like it's perfect on a sim breakout replay because there's no slippage. But we know better. We know better. Also, I use small targets because I know it moves small. if you would have used bigger targets, it would not have been so easy, right? What if you used, a target of 25 on your second? It would change the trade. Let's see what happens with it. Sometimes when you do playbacks, you have to really be aware of what the market really did, because sometimes a playback will give you a better result than real life really was. That's why we talk about looking at the market with the one range, with smaller time frames. When you see a super fast reversal, see, with a slightly bigger target, you would have had to get your stop to safety, okay? And I was too slow doing that, right? So it might not have been so easy to have a winning trade if you had a bigger target also, okay? Just a heads up that playback and sim is not always 100% perfect in the results. And it's our experience that helps us truly analyze the event. But I'll say one thing: nothing is more perfect than a live trade. A live trade is always, of course, obviously, the final answer on whether a trade was a working setup or not. Nothing trumps a live trade. Okay. All right, everybody. We'll be back at 9:30. So I'll see everybody later for existing homes. Okay, folks. See you in a bit.